Our wideout of the week for week 4 is Stefon Diggs after going 6 for 115 on Sunday versus the Raiders, with perhaps the best route of the week. Diggs is now tied for the league lead in receiving yards, averaging about 100 yards per game. People were unsure of his production as he entered this new offense, but his extreme talent seems to be prevailing pretty effortlessly. Diggs' first reception of the day comes on a deep over route from what eventually becomes an empty set. Diggs is aligned in the backfield here prior to motioning out to number 3 and trips to the left of the formation. There's a corner over the ball to match Diggs, which is an immediate sign of man-to-man coverage. This is confirmed when he runs with Diggs. The Bills also have Singletary, their running back, split out to the bottom of your screen, and when a linebacker is split out with the back, it's more than likely an indicator for man-to-man coverage. Now, on Diggs' deep over here, rather than pushing across the field immediately, he threatens with his vertical stem, and there's a reason for this. You'll see his cover defender has outside leverage here, and that's because the Raiders are bracketing Diggs with the free safety. Now, should Diggs work across the field immediately on his over route, the safety will jump it, and he'll have route leverage, and Diggs won't be open. Should that happen, Diggs' cover defender would most likely replace the free safety in the middle of the field. However, since Diggs does attack with that vertical stem, it keeps the safety high due to the threat of the vertical. Now, basically, this becomes a race between Diggs and his cover defender, which Diggs wins due to the previously mentioned outside leverage of that defender. The weak side safety is looking to cut anything to the middle of the field from his side here. Now, this is wide open, especially in the NFL. It's a lot of grass for Allen to lay the ball out in front of Diggs. The Raiders really don't have a bad coverage called here for the concept. The Bills just execute even better. This is a big play on the Bills' opening drive. Here's his third reception of the day, and he's going to be aligned in that nastier condensed split we spoke about in our last video spotlighting DJ Chark. The route is almost identical too. The Bills are going to put the receiver outside of Diggs in jet motion, and there's reason to believe that maybe what triggers that receiver's cover defender to blitz off the edge. This essentially leaves no defender to get underneath Diggs' deep out. Does a great job threatening in his vertical stem prior to speed cutting off that inside foot to the out. We call it a speed cut simply because we shouldn't lose any speed throughout the route. You'll notice the amount of cushion at the break point here. No need to break down. We want to limit as much ground contact time as possible. We want to get right to our out route here. Less is more. Now, once again, let's pay attention to how Diggs rips that inside, which in this case is his right, elbow back right after rolling off that inside foot. This helps pull him flat and maintain speed through the break point. We mentioned yesterday our arm action should not change much through our break point here on any speed cut. And just like we mentioned yesterday, it's similar to that of rounding a base on the baseball field or running around the lacrosse crease. Split wide at the top of your screen here, his fifth reception comes on a stop route. Could be considered a hinge or a fallout because he opens up to the outside. Once again, terminology is arbitrary. There's not much to this route here other than the fact that he's threatening so much in his vertical stem that the cover defender has absolutely no option but to turn and run, flip his hip with the threat of the vertical. Let's also talk about this false acceleration created by his violent snap or trigger step. The first thing to discuss is that the foot will strike slightly in front of our center of mass in deceleration. However, there are certain bandwidths in that regard. Actively lunging out in front can have diminishing returns, and we spoke about bandwidths. This is completely individualized. So what works for one player might not work so well for another player. The patterns are going to vary by the individual. Diggs does an exceptional job here with that initial snap down or trigger step to start his break point, violently drop his hips. Notice the violent snap false acceleration, what it does to the corner as he continues up the field as Diggs is actually completing his break point. This is the definition of everything's vertical until it's not. Up until route depth, our cover defender should have no idea what route is being run. After a turnover, the Bills get the ball near midfield. Absolutely perfect time for a shot play. Diggs is going to be split wide at the bottom of your screen for his final reception of the day, and it was his best route and catch. The corners are lined outside here, so Diggs dives inside after using some type of split release. Gets a clean release prior to squaring up the safety. He now has room to the sideline and, of course, to the middle of the field. So when Diggs pressure steps to make this look just like a corner variation, the defender has no choice to flip his hip and run with the corner. But the most important part of this route, and then the double move, is to run the first route first. In this case, the first route is the corner. Diggs does an excellent job selling it, staying patient, staying on the corner long enough for the safety to have to drive it. However, you'll see here this is frozen at his first step out of the corner. So he just pressure step. This is his first step out. You'll notice the safety's hips are still square. So if Diggs rushes this route and exits the corner after only one step, the safety can most likely recover. Diggs stays on for 2 more. DB eventually has to turn and run. Diggs exits with that singles pressure step back to the post, limiting any loss of speed throughout the whole route. Finally, let's discuss how Diggs finishes here. We hear a lot of times guys talking about being a dog, I'm a dog, pounding their chest. Well, this is it right here, okay? High points to football. Nothing else matters right now to him but the football. Watch him glue his eyes to it because there's no reason for our eyes to be anywhere else. It's the most important thing in the world right now. When that ball's in the air, it's our football. To finish, he actively pulls the ball away so the DB cannot finish through his hands. Textbook route from catch to finish. And that'll do it for our wideout spotlight. We did one earlier in the week on DJ Chark. That was really just to highlight his big week. But our receiver of the week is Stefon Diggs, leading the league in receiving. Another monster game. As always, appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week. Really appreciate your time.